Lives. We've been given useful advice. Go to college, get a job, take out a student loan. You'll be able to pay it off. We've been told to work harder. Your major was useless. Buy a house, go to grad school, save your money. They've told us their way is the only way. Anyone can make money. Invest your money in the stock market. And they've told us our way is useless. Bitcoin's a joke. You'll never get rich that way. Nobody will ever take you seriously. Cryptocurrency will never last. Even though everyone can see their useful advice doesn't work anymore.
Spin. The economic crisis is set to become one of the world's worst financial crises since the 1850s.
But Inflation Nation is still a major concern for CFOs.
Americans owed over $1 trillion in student debt.
Showing record-breaking home prices. A group of independent investors in a Reddit group called Wall Street Bets.
President Nayib Bukele announcing he will propose a bill to the country's Congress this week.
Strong projections about where Bitcoin goes, including $100,000.
Fame is that he went all in on a meme-based cryptocurrency called Dogecoin. And in 69 days, he went from a struggling music producer to a millionaire.
The answer is safe mode. Big congratulations to Useless. I'm very happy with it.
So I just have one question for you. Who's useless now?
Welcome. I am Kark here. We're here for the Sunday Sunburn for the Useless. With me, I have Lance, also known as Lynx Badger. I have Sheldon making an appearance for the first time. He does exist. Death Peril. We got Jackie, Tupacs, our marketing director, and on the call, who is the man behind the curtain. We have Mwell, who's running this whole stream. So appreciate you guys joining us. We got pretty cool announcements for you, and we're actually going to demo the app a little bit, what we've built so far. And just to set expectations, this is a work in progress, but we want to peel back the veil a little bit and show you guys that we are working hard on this, and that what you see is probably not going to be what the final app will look like. But we just want to demonstrate some of the functionality that we've built so far. So to start us off, what we're going to do is we're going to burn 2 trillion tokens. You can do the math on that, on what that's actually valued. So that's a multi-signature transaction out of our corporate wallet. We already have 2 out of the 4 required. We need 4 out of 6 in order to do this transaction. So that is what I'm going to do. Oh, Looks like we got 3 out of 4 already. So I'll go in and confirm. And then you guys can go look at the blockchain and just verify that that 2 trillion tokens is sent to the burn address. So notice there isn't the sun behind me. We're having just a little bit of connection as I guess we're bouncing around across the pond and back, right? So with the flames, it was kind of tweaking out the video a little bit. And so I just have a static background this time, but we'll get the sun flames back. It's important to me. All right, and then let's verify on the blockchain whether or not that went through. All right, 33 seconds ago, we had 1.84 trillion sent from the corporate multisig to the burn address. And just to reiterate to everyone, that is, you get reflections off of these burns, right? So that's what's happening. It had the 8% tax off that 2 trillion. And so we had a big bump towards liquidity, and we also had a big bump towards reflections. All right, with that out of the way, so I just want to give some status updates on where we are before we get into some of the weeds. So I mentioned previously that we raised $25,000 for ProBit listing. We've been working with them to get all the details on that listing up and running. We got all the marketing material, all the technical information over to them. And so they're starting that work for implementation. I don't know exactly when they're going to list, but I do think and hope that we're going to have listing with ProBit by the end of this week, the working week. So that is it's a large Korean exchange. Excited to work with them and it's a big milestone for us to have our first exchange listing. We're very stoked about that. We haven't had a fundraiser yet for other listings that are in the pipeline. Last week I mentioned we have around 20 in the pipeline. It's even more now. I don't even know how many listing channels do we have now in our Discord?
It just goes on forever. I don't know.
Yeah, we have, it's like a page of all these listings. And this is a huge shout out. So we promoted Jellyfish Thunder to our business development manager and French Sapper to our vice business development manager. And they've been working tirelessly to coordinate with all these exchanges and to negotiate with them on their listing fees. And we're getting some pretty good negotiation numbers from that, which is pretty cool. But this is all a team effort. This is not just one person. This is a group of people in our leadership, like 30 people who are working really, really hard to make this successful. And but anyway, we wanted to have a fundraiser after we get listed on ProBit. We just feel that it's appropriate that we don't throw up another fundraiser before the listing actually falls through. We may change that in the future. I think people will start trusting us that once we do fundraisers and we then get listed for them. But we just want to take it slow for now. Just eliminate any potential for FUD and only throw up another fundraiser for what's next in the queue. We got some pretty good deals that are like low, 10,000s ish for some listings. So our fundraisers will be more effective. We can get some pretty cool listings in for a relatively cheap price. So we're working our way down that list, and hopefully we'll just be listing after listing after listing. That's our hope. All right, next up is monetization of the app. I'm going to hand over the time to Lance on this piece.
Do we actually want to go through and show the app first so they know what I'm talking about, or do we want to just talk about it?
Actually, that's a good point. So Neil, why don't we show let's play the movie for the app. So okay. All right. So the video's on, and what this is, I can't see it. So I'm just going to describe the process is that we have a homepage right now, which will just show listings. People will pay to be on these listings, and they'll pay to be ranked up higher on these listings. And when you click on one of these listings, it will actually have the chart for it. We already have real data now wired up where we're pulling data for the pricing, and we're able to switch through, the day, the week, the month, whatever type charts. You can also change it to the candlesticks or not. You can't see it in the video, but there's also another tab which will show you all the trades that are happening in there. So that's still being wired up with that data, but that's pretty much where we are with the app. Is that and you can favorite, and then it creates a separate list at the top where it favorites it. So you have all your favorited tokens, and then you have just the list below it. And eventually what we want to build to this is really flesh out the whale watching tab when you see the chart. We also have a link there for the socials and all that information. Ultimately, we even foresee things like auditing data with like an audit partner for a particular token. And we also want to, on the home screen, we envision that changing a bit to being where it's not just your favorited listings and then the listings, but it's actually your whole portfolio of all the tokens that you own, wiring it up to your wallet, and be able to see transaction history. And most importantly, kind of like something like Robinhood, where you're able to see the percentages of your investment, right? If you put in $1,000 and it went up to $15,000, right? You want to see that. You want to see some green. Or if you pick something bad and it tanked, we want to be able to show that too. And so that gives context. We want to add really like a really clean, simple feel to this whole process, to where you really feel like you're for people who are newer to crypto, that they can kind of pop in, keep track of all their tokens in their wallet, kind of whether they're up or whether they're down, and give them a more of a bird's eye view on the whole process. So again, work in progress. What you see here is going to change. I know we'll probably get some feedback on this, and that's fine. But we will plan on having a closed beta first, then an open beta to gather a lot of that feedback and organize it, and then finally to release the app. So we're well on our way. We have something to demonstrate and to show. I just wanted to peel back the curtain a little bit so you can see that we are making progress. It's important. It's not just UX. It's not just vaporware, right? We're actually doing something. And then Lance, if you want to describe the monetization side of it.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of cool things coming down in this app. I mean, David touched briefly on a lot of points that we're focused on right now. How to make money is a big part of it. One of the things that we want to do is in that listing, we're talking about injecting sponsored spots, things like that are going to be in that main list. And how that's going to work is SafeMoon Mark has been working on some contracts that are smart contracts that when somebody wants to list with us, they'll get an actual smart contract listed for their token. What's cool about that is that they can then send that contract to their community, use that to buy useless, and then send useless tokens to that contract and do a king of the hill kind of thing. And so whoever has the most tokens donated to their smart contract will be tracked and monitored, and that'll determine their position in that list. So there's a lot of cool opportunities for competitions, even between tokens, to see who can get to the top of the list. I mean, just a lot of fun ideas coming out. I mean, we have some other ideas too, but I don't know if we want to go too much into the future chat. Like we have potentially of making a wallet inside of the app as well. That could be a really cool feature for having these smart contracts that Mark has been working on that you guys have seen, where you can actually just go send money to a smart contract and it'll give you tokens automatically back. That could be integrated into the app as well. So you could use it to actually just purchase tokens right then and there. So a lot of cool things that we could implement into this app to make money. We're open to feedback. We definitely want to hear from the community. We want to get your input. We want to implement some great ideas. So please reach out to us.
Cool. And on that, I probably point to you, Jackie, on this. So we working with some of the attorneys, we have some legal concerns that we just want to be very proactive about. No one's coming after us. No one's approached us, right? But we just want to make sure we're playing it safe. So in context of those listings, Jackie, if you could take it away on that legal opinion work we've been doing.
Right. So in order to not have to be listed as a security, which a security is a stock, and you have to register with the SEC, and then everything becomes very, very legit and legal and expensive and not crypto. In order to do that, your token has to have utility. And you also have to be not just careful about the verbiage that you use while you're telling people, but you cannot promise or give the expectation that people are making money, and that if you bought it at this price, today's the lowest it'll ever be for you, and tomorrow it's just going to keep going up. I crypto advertising in particular is very interesting right now. It kind of reminds me of cigarette advertising in the 50s and 60s, where you see like pregnant women smoking cigarettes and doctors recommending it. There's a lot of people getting away with a lot of things because it's just a very gray area, unregulated space. But it won't be forever, and there's definitely going to be reasons for that. There's some deceptive things, some very legal ramifications for leading people down the wrong path. And because we are the most honest token, we just want to keep everybody informed that just because everybody else is jumping off the bridge with all of their wild promises doesn't mean that we're going to do it too. And I think as a community and as a token, we also want to educate people so that they understand how to look at a token and evaluate it for themselves, to be able to see, is this a scam? Are they making outlandish promises? Should they be doing this? Should they not? And it will give you the more educated view to become an investor in something. And we're really excited to have everybody here with us while we all figure this out. So if you've noticed, there's some things happening in the marketing, and we're just minding our P's and Q's and dotting our I's and crossing our T's just to make sure that we have the best chance to be here for the marathon and not the sprint, So yeah, we're making sure our token has the correct utility, that we aren't actually a security, that we are firmly a crypto, and that we can use every single thing that is in our ecosystem to help the token, help the community, and just make this a really, really fun project.
I appreciate that. And so spawning from all of this work, right, we're being really careful just to not use words like profit. And again, we need to talk to the attorneys and really figure out the right path forward for this. It's a bit of a pivot, right, to talk about how, profit injection and corporate buyback from 100% of the profits and things like that, right, which is really exciting about this token. We may need to change some of our verbiage and pivot off of that for a very good reason, not because we just feel like it, but because I'm too soft for jail. Let's not do that. So jail is a really good reason for pivoting a product and marketing and that kind of thing. And so if you do see changes, right, where we're de-emphasizing a lot of talking about profit sharing or crypto equity or crypto dividends or, things like that, it's more just for the reasoning of playing it really safe, because we want to be a legitimate project, right? We want to do this in a way that's not under the radar and sketch, right? We're tying our names, our faces, our reputation, everything to this. And we want to make sure we do it the right way, in a legal way. And so that has informed some of our decision making, where we're like, for the ranking, right? From an economic point of view, we can say, hey, people, pay us B&B so that we'll list you, and the more you pay, the higher up on the list you'll be. And we'll take that B&B, it will be profit, and then we do buybacks and burns, right? Well, you could also have, from an economic point of view, say, well, purchase useless and then spend that on your ranking, and then we'll then take those tokens and burn them or inject them into liquidity, right? And so it's economically the same thing. People are purchasing, B&B is being used either from us or from people to purchase tokens and do that buyback in order to facilitate the rankings, right? So again, economically, it's the same. It's still very exciting what we're doing. We're just more de-emphasizing the fact we're using profits for it, and more saying that this buy mechanism is based off the utility of the token being consumed for a service which is for this listing. That unlocks a lot of relief for us. Certain states, for example, in the US, won't even allow, will have to be regulated based off of whether or not they have utility for a consumable purpose, for some sort of service, right? And if we use useless for listings, then that gives it a very, very solid utility use case that we can just shout from the rooftops and have hopefully no legal trouble from it. So I just wanted to go into that. I thought it was important of some of the thinking, the proactive thinking we're doing here in the background, just to make sure that we don't get caught with our pants down. That's just how we want to operate is, we want to think through these things before we jump. Cool. Next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about so Safe Moon Mark, another huge shout out to him. This guy is a beast. We don't use his name in shilling, so please don't use his name in shilling. He doesn't want that, right? But he has done amazing work on creating a lot of ancillary contracts for us. So we have our arbitrage contract, which we talked about previously. We have our furnace contract, which does the auto liquidity. I mean, that's pretty much ready. We have our bypass contract, where there's a small BNB fee that is paid, and that facilitates bypassing tokenomics. Like, there's all this really cool stuff that we got going on. And he created the, as Lance mentioned, the contract where you just send it BNB and it gives you tokens back. It buys it off PancakeSwap for you. You don't have to connect your wallet. So if you use that contract, just keep in mind you may have to increase your gas to around 1.5 million. So if it fails, your transaction fails, it's because there's technical limitations. The contract doesn't know how much gas it's going to spend when you interact with it. And so because it interacts with PancakeSwap, it uses more gas than just typically what it would expect by sending BNB to an address. So a regular transaction sends BNB to an address, small amount of gas, that's the expectation. But because you're sending the BNB to the address and then it's going to PancakeSwap, purchasing the token, sending it back to you, you have to increase your gas. So, but you can use that contract to buy tokens. It's a lot easier. And what's really cool is that when we build out dApps or we build out stuff within the app itself, we can control the amount of gas for those transactions. So it will just be a lot more seamless. But if you're doing it manually for now, increase your gas.
But this is particularly amazing for people who have an iPhone. The iPhone Trust Wallet app blocked the dApp ability. So if you just set it up today, you cannot go into that browser, get to PancakeSwap or MetaMask or Uniswap or any of that. You have to download Google Chrome and then open that up and pray that nobody is phishing you. And this way that Mark did this is just so much more seamless. And I think a lot easier for people who are new. So if there are people now that are like, oh, I want to buy useless, how do I do it? Send them this way because it's infinitely easier. And I think we'll end up seeing new holders from this alone.
I want to point out too that just make sure when you use this contract, you're pulling it from safe sources. Don't pull it from social media or random people. Make sure you get the contract from a safe source, because I don't want you sending your money to a scam artist, things like that. So just be safe out there.
Yeah. And my recommendation is that if you're unsure, send a tiny amount. And make sure it ends up in your wallet. So we'll put out official graphics out there with QR codes and all that. But again, people can go, like what Lance said, they can mock or change those QR codes to where you're just sending BNB to a random address. So just be careful about it. Save it somewhere, put it in a clipboard or something, right? Just be safe. Or
directly to our legitimate socials, our website. Mm-hmm. You can always find everything correct there. And I think pretty much everything is at Useless Crypto now, right?
Yeah. So the only thing that's not branded as Useless Crypto is our Telegram. That's Useless Community. However, we have reserved Useless Crypto Telegram group. So we may eventually migrate over to Useless Crypto Telegram. But yeah, everything is Useless Crypto. All right. So next up on this, we have a meme contest that we want to announce some winners for. And so how this is we have a 10 billion reward to the top memer. And let's go through the list here. So third place with J Parks 351, his meme there. Congratulations, you win nothing because the 10 billion's only for the first place winner. But you tried. Good job.
A useless prize.
Second up, also winning nothing is, but you know, it's this useless prize, is Caleb BR21. Thank you, Caleb, for participating. This is your participation trophy as being here on the stream. And then finally, we have first place ARG I-98 winning 10 billion. And so you're going to win a special role on Discord and a cool flare on Reddit. And yeah, so appreciate your efforts into this, guys, for your memeing. You guys are incredible. So at the end of the day, what this is about community, right? We're working on token, we're working on apps, working on D-apps, we're working on listings. There's a lot of things that we're doing in the background, but we want to be transparent as possible about this whole process, that we are working hard, we are doing all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's the community that is what matters, right? Is you guys, the time, energy, and effort that you put into this. Really appreciate and love all of you. So thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. We'll have some more announcements next week, but hopefully you liked what you saw with the app. Just give us some feedback. I'm going to pop in. Oh, and real quick, before we sign off, I just want to mention that Sheldon's here, and Sheldon doesn't have a report for us or whatever, but I just wanted to introduce him if you want to say hi real quick. So.
Hey, everyone. I'm useless. Just going to sit here being useless. So.
So Sheldon is our director of software engineering. So he's just awkward. So he doesn't want to really say much on the stream, but you'll be hearing from him more in the coming weeks. And Mitch couldn't make it here today. I left. Yeah, no, I left the basement door open. He escaped, so I got to track him down. And then Rothgar is currently driving right now, so he's not available. But that's one of the things we really care about, is that trust is important. We understand trust is important, and we're doing things to really ensure that we're proactive about trust. And so no one asked us to create an entity. Nobody asked us to dox ourselves. Nobody asked us to put our faces and names on these Twitch streams, right? We're doing this as a sign and effort of good faith, because we know how inundated this space is with scam artists and people who do want to rob you blind. And so we want to be a good example in the space on what to do. Oh, and that brings up something kind of exciting too that Mark did. Is there's a contract we created called a liquidator contract. So the problem that we had was that we raised the money for the exchanges that all went to the multi-sig wallet, and I had to convert this BNB over into BEP20 wrapped USDT, right? Binance wrapped USDT. And so what I had to do is I had to do a multi-sig transaction where we sent it to the deployer wallet, and the deployer wallet is controlled by one person, right? Well, actually, Lance and we both have the keys for it, but that's problematic because we could take all that money and one person could run away with it, right? And I didn't like that. It didn't set well with me. I didn't like the idea of moving stuff out of our multi-sig ecosystem. So what I asked, so what we did is we moved the BNB over to the deployer wallet, and then I used Pancake Swap to move it over to wrapped USDT, and then I sent it off to the exchange, right? But what I wanted to do going forward is figure out a way in our multi-sig to convert our BNB into like what the exchanges want. And so Mark created a contract, we call it the useless liquidator. And what you do is you send BNB to it, and it just yeets back Binance wrapped USDT. And so we just do one multi-sig transaction, and we go, we're sending this beep, boop, boop to this contract. And then boom, we have you have money in your account. That's great for donations, because we also ran into a problem where we raised $25,000 worth of BNB. and then BNB crashed, and that sucked. So we had to raise an additional $4,000 internally in our group. We just kind of threw money at it. Sorry, Lance. I know you put some, but that sucks. And so we're like, what we want to do is we want to more frequently, as people donate, we want to just easily convert that back into a PEG token so that we don't have issues going forward. And what's cool about that is we can actually set that as a donation address. And we have some plans to where, we're running out of time, where you could like send any token to it, which would be really funny. Like you could send anything, any meme coin token to this donation address, and we would just liquidate it and sell it on the market, and then just convert it into USDT and send it back to our wallet.
So it's a useless trash can for all
the garbage disposal of tokens. Just if you want to donate anything, we'll just throw it in there.
Recycle bin.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll liquidate stuff and send it to our multi-sig. So
I think the key takeaway for that is it's safe. So no one bad actor can run away with the funds. That's the key takeaway.
Yeah. So I rambled on for a bit, but yes, that's the key takeaway is we're doing things behind the scenes that people aren't asking of us, but I want people to follow in our footsteps. I want to see what they're doing. We've already had several tokens already now approach Mark and say, can you create a contract for us where you just send BNB and then it sends back tokens? And we're like, yeah. And so you may be seeing that kind of, we're already changing the face of DeFi already. That's exciting from some of the work we've been doing. That's our hope. That's our goal. So thanks for sticking with us. Hope you have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Our whole lives, we've been given useful advice. Go to college, get a job, take out a student loan. You'll be able to pay it off. We've been told to work harder. Your major was useless. Buy a house, go to grad school, save your money. They've told us their way is the only way. Anyone can make money. Invest your money in the stock market. And they've told us our way is useless. Bitcoin's a joke. You'll never get rich that way. Nobody will ever take you seriously. Cryptocurrency will never last. Even though everyone can see their useful advice doesn't work anymore.
Spin. The economic crisis is set to become one of the world's worst financial crises since the 1850s.
But Inflation Nation is still a major concern for CFOs.
Americans owed over $1 trillion in student debt.
Showing record-breaking home prices. A group of independent investors in a Reddit group called Wall Street Bets.
President Nayib Bukele announcing he will propose a bill to the country's Congress this week.
On projections about where Bitcoin goes, including $100,000.
Fame is that he went all in on a meme-based cryptocurrency called Dogecoin. And in 69 days, he went from a struggling music producer to a millionaire.
The answer is safe mode. Big congratulations to Useless. I'm very happy with it.
So I just have one question for you. Who's useless now?
Thank you.